Should we?
Sounds good.
Okay. So, yeah, we should be live by now. Okay. Thanks. So, thanks everyone for joining the second part of Google Summer of Code midterm demos. Yesterday we had a presentation by Meha on GitOps for Keptn with Flux and Argo CD. And today we have two presentations. Eric will present how entity CRDs could be applied for Keptn GitOps, and then Rajiv will speak about the new documentation site engine we are going to use for Keptn documentation and tutorials soon. So that's the plan for today. And I think the floor is yours, Eric.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen. You guys can see the full screen slide.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, I guess so. Yeah, I'll just get started. So yeah, hello everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today for my presentation on my Google Center of Code project, Entity Custom Resource Definitions for Keptn GitOps. This is obviously a project for which I've had a lot of help with from my mentors, Thomas, Suraj, and Afsal. Yeah, I guess I'll quickly get started with a little bit about myself. I'm actually a computer science student at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. This is not a picture that I took, but it is a picture of a library, one of the better pictures I've seen, so I picked this one. I'm actually currently in Boston. This is sort of a neighborhood around where I am, and I'm here for the summer, maybe also in the fall as well. That is to say, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because the beauty of open source as well as software engineering is that we can kind of work together asynchronously as well as, I guess, all around the world. So just a quick agenda for today from my end. I'll quickly go over Kubernetes Custom Resource Definitions, as well as GitOps, which are two really important components and sort of concepts for my project, as well as I want to touch on the Keptn GitOps Operator prototype that Thomas built, which I'm building on top of. And then I'll kind of talk a little bit about the specifics of my project, as well as finish off with challenges and lessons learned and sort of what's happening as we move forward. So just to quickly get started, and I don't really want to like go super in depth to any of these I guess like core concepts, just because I'm definitely not an expert, but I do think it's worth going over just because it is very relevant to what I'm building. So just to start with like Kubernetes custom resource definitions. I mean, I say custom resource definitions, but like I'm showing kind of three different things here. On the left is the custom resource definition. On the right, top right, you can kind of see a custom resource, as well as the bottom right is a controller that reconciles the state based on the custom resource. So really, we're talking about, at least for my project and for the current POC that Thomas built, we're looking at these three components and how we can kind of manipulate the states of Keptn using these resources, which are extensions of Kubernetes, which is great because then we can also use like the Kubernetes API as well as like kubectl to use these resources. So that's kind of with regards to CRDs. Another really important component, obviously, is GitOps. once again, this is not a meme that I made. This is one that I found online. I thought it was funny, so I included it here. But essentially, I guess some important components of GitOps is like these principles. And this is kind of taken from Weave, the source on the bottom right. So here we can see that like for principles of GitOps, the entire system is described declaratively. And as you saw in like the Kubernetes resources, that's also the case with like our custom resources and the definitions. We have a canonical desired system state versioned in Git. That's obviously very important. Approved changes can be automatically applied to the system. That's where the controllers come in to like reconcile the state versus what we want to see. We have software agents that ensure correctness and alert on divergence. Once again, this is where the controllers come in. And I think it's important to note as well that that goes beyond just when like nodes or pods fail, which we kind of get for free from Kubernetes anyways. So there's like functionality in addition to sort of the basics that we can do with our controllers and sort of using like the operator pattern. And these agents act as the feedback and control loop for operations. And finally, there's constant reconciliation. So when you see a change in your Git repo, that's applied to the Kubernetes clusters, as well as changes in Kubernetes clusters should be reflected in Git as well. Yeah, I included this diagram because I thought it was interesting that I guess the timeline itself, if you see sort of the beginning is like 2017, and like we really didn't see major adoption until somewhere around 2018, 2019. So it's still like very new, which was one of the things that really kind of appealed to me when picking this project. Which brings us to the Keptn GitOps operator. And this is the prototype that was built by Thomas. There's a lot of documentation and discussion on these keps, as well as linked the operator itself. And this is actually where I'm building on top of for my project. As well, there's some resources on like specific videos and developer talks that Thomas gave that are linked here as well. So based on kind of what I just went over with regards to like GitOps as well as custom resource definitions, those concepts are applied in this operator. If you look at the bottom right here, the Keptn operator actually reconciles the Keptn configuration based on the custom resources and the custom resource definitions, as well as we have the Keptn Git operator on the left that takes sort of the GitOps part, where it takes the configurations from a repo as the source of truth, for which it also then applies the custom resources defined in the repos to Keptn. So that's what's already that we have within the prototype. My goal with my project is to sort of add some of the other components that haven't been implemented yet. And hopefully as I kind of progress through the project, also elevate beyond just implementing these entities as custom resources and controllers. So I'll just do a quick code review. So there is, whoops. Well, I guess I can't click on. Here, I'll just switch tabs real quick. Actually, I do have it open. So some of the parts that I mentioned already, specifically with regards to the, sorry, one second. You guys can still see my screen, like me moving the pages, hopefully. But yeah, so the Keptn operator is sort of where I'm doing most of my work. And if you look at the GitOps operator specifically, we have all of these controllers as well as all of these API components. We see the Keptn operator here as well as the GitOps operator, just like in the diagram. So most of my work is and will be within this component. So one part that I've already well partially implemented is the Keptn service level indicators. And the API here, as you can see, it defines sort of the project, stage, and service, as well as the provider and the specific indicators for the provider. And as well, that also includes the controller, which reconciles the state based on what we desire. So this is currently very much a work in progress. But I think as soon as I become comfortable with and sort of complete this component, I think the rest of it will be very similar. Which is why it's exciting that that I think I can kind of go beyond just implementing the resources to kind of elevate and try to think of other use cases as well. But yeah, so there is currently a PR for that that's being reviewed, and I think has been looked at least a little bit by the mentors. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, the current state of my project. I guess just some things with regards to like challenges and lessons learned. My term kind of got off to a bit of a rocky start with a bit of a hiatus, just based on some personal things that occurred in the beginning. Something I learned from that is like communicating early is very important, as well as having great mentors. Like everyone was super flexible and super happy to grant me like an extension based on which really helped a lot, I think, with regards to being able to keep along with the timeline. I think another thing I can do better is like leveraging other community members in addition to my mentors. Another thing that was a bit of a challenge is setting up the dev environment. I think the actually setting up the GitOps operator so that it runs as well as Keptn, that took up way more time than actually like understanding like the Keptn client modules or the APIs, which is kind of just going into the code. But also as a result, I learned a lot more about like Kubernetes, like EC2, as well as like K3S. But I'm also very excited to not have to wrestle with the tools anymore and kind of think more about the features. Another challenge was like time zone differences, but this was mitigated by kind of mentors recognizing that, as well as other members of the community reaching out to offer to kind of be around when I'm around as well. As well as some things that I like doing that I think like helped with communication was like asynchronous stand-ups. So there's like kind of like daily updates that I put in the project's wiki, which helps me for accountability as well as to keep mentors informed of my progress. And then I also think like weekly meetings is the best cadence, because we started with like bi-weekly meetings, but that ended up being kind of too long in between touch points. So yeah, those are some of the lessons learned. And then moving forward, you can see a timeline of everything I'll be doing from now until the end of my period on this project page. As I mentioned, there is a bit of an extension for my project, so it'll be going until October. But I plan to elaborate a lot more on these as sort of as I continue work on these components. But yeah, that's I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about. And whoops. So yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen, I guess, at this point. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thanks for the presentation. Any questions from those who participate live? So let's see. I don't see any questions in the chat. There is one question from the stream about, well, not a question, really suggestion. Using V1 directly as API version is not the best practice. Is a recommendation to reconsider that.
I see. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Well, actually, many tools and even services use versioning like that. So while it's not the best practice, yes, I can agree. But yeah, the fact it's widely used.
Awesome. Yeah, and I guess I didn't really mention too is that like any kind of like suggestions and feedback is also welcome. I believe my project page and like the Slack channels are available.
So for me, the biggest question is how do you plan to make it available to others? So we have a prototype of GitOps Operator published by Thomas and the team. And yeah, the question is whether you plan to integrate entity CRDs part right in this prototype, or whether you want to have it separately.
Yeah, so the current plan is to like integrate it with the prototype. And in fact, I'm building directly on top of and adding to the prototype currently for my project.
Okay. So I think it would be the best approach. So any questions from others? So from mentors, we have Suresh on the call. So would you like to share some feedback?
I think I mentioned this during the last GSoC call when we had presentations as well. I think Eric just moved from Canada to United States, and I think a couple of weeks were quite hectic for him. So we gave an extension, but otherwise I think Eric is very good at communicating and reaching out and asking the right questions, and I'm hoping I'm looking forward to the controller, basically.
Awesome, I appreciate that.
Okay. So any comments, questions on this project, or should we move forward? So thanks for the presentation, Eric. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what's next, because all this GitOps story is one of the biggest work streams in Keptn right now. So yeah, looking forward to have management for all items.
Awesome. Yeah, me as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the next presentation is about documentation site engine by Rajiv.
So yeah, so
would you like to take over?
Yeah, sure. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it
is. Yeah, so let's start with the PPT. Okay, so hello everyone. This is Rajiv, and I'm on the midterm GSoC evaluation. And my project is on creating a new engine for Keptn. And I want to thanks to Keptn organization to giving me this chance, and to my mentors who review my PRs and give me feedback on the work I did in phase 1. Meg, Suraj, Oleg, and other things and all. So I'm going to so the agenda will be like, I'll give an overview about myself and give the task what in phase 1, and mostly my the presentation most of on not on more of content based. So I am Rajiv. I'm a final year undergrad student. SSAT Bangalore, India. Currently I'm in Bangalore, and next month. Okay, so that's about me. And okay, so let me give a bit about the for Keptn, how we did it. Future. Currently, based on Hugo. So Hugo is a static size generator, and so we have the docs based on a Hugo framework. So we face a lot of problems with Hugo. We don't have a versioning support. We don't have doc support. A lot of all the things you can go through the issues what we have mentioned here. So to solve this problem, we wanted to move our current docs engine to something better, maybe some other framework. And we did a comparison between two best framework, the Docusaurus and Antora. And after the discussion with the before GSoC, we had a discussion on the Antora, the Docusaurus, and to move with Docusaurus framework. So Docusaurus is created by Facebook. It's open source static size generator. The best thing about Docusaurus is very fast creation of application. It's because it's based on React framework. So we decided to move forward with Docusaurus. So I'm going to showcase the work what we did in. So we move with Docusaurus, and it's the starting point was to initialize and hosting on Netlify, and adding the accordingly. So we have this repo here, or the sandbox repo, and when we go to the we see this. So this is a new UX, the new design for the and okay. So this is the new. So next was the adding the so we added a search functionality in this doc side. Earlier in Hugo side we don't have a search functionality, but we have for new Docusaurus side. So I'm going to showcase the search. Let me search it's going to showcase all the CLI stuff here. And the best thing is that it's showing the current, it's showing the latest version, not from different versions of the docs, but showing the latest one. Maybe in future you wanted to showcase this is the latest version, and you want to showcase not 17 but 16. Do this using you can go through that code and just change just exclude the routes for that 16 and next versions. It's not going to crawl the docs through these versions. So that is very easy to do. Okay, so about the we added in Docusaurus. Next on the versioning support. So I said you earlier, in the Hugo side we don't have a version, so manually we have to add in different folders, and it takes for it. So we have a version support doc side, so you can see the different versions. As of now we have 3. I've added 3 versions to showcase the the concept. So we have 15.x, and it shows that this is not a latest version. It shows at the above we have 16 and 17, and sometime we wanted to showcase docs which are not released, unreleased documentation. Basically this is docs is from the master plans. We want to showcase it. So for that that also do it using the versioning support. Next was to multi-doc support. Means that we this is the main the main point, the main is the current docs site, which is what. So we have a docs in different repository, and we want to have a single engine which can render all the docs at one point. So we have this multi-task support. It's not partially, this is partially done. So this in navbar, we have Keptn Go utils and Keptn GSoC repository. So when we go to the Keptn GSoC, it's rendering the README docs of that. So this is the change log. Okay, so this is change log file, and I'm rendering it using 0md here. We don't like when you see the code, like we don't have a content here. We're not putting a content. We're just rendering live. So like one success how we can do it, but we wanted to develop it more. Like we wanted a GitHub for it, so that all repo can be automatically put in this docs folder and structure it well. So that still we are working on. The SEO changes. So like so I'm going to demo like SEO what we are getting now, like a Hugo site, and how. So when we go to let's go to roadmap. So I'm just copying the URL and just put .io. So it's going to get all the like metadata. So we don't have a description of a page. We don't have meta image here, and like if we share this link to the Twitter, it's not sorry, but so we have a current docs here. Let me okay, and we have. Let me copy this link. So when we put this link here, we are going to get the meta image description. We can change and all the metadata of it, and how we are getting it. Things in front matter. Our meta data or tags or anything related to meta stuff, we front matter, and it's going to render it. Even image, we can change the image for a particular docs, the meta image for it. And the current docs, when you go to current docs Hugo site, we don't have any tags here like this doc based on which tag, something like this. So we have a roadmap, Keptn roadmap. So if any click, focus all the docs related to this tags. So this was one of feature very important. One more thing, that we have dark mode support. So the current docs, we don't have a dark mode. We have a dark mode support for the docs. Also, okay, so I'm going to we did it in phase. So okay, so problem I faced during this phase 1. So at the starting, when the UI UX changes was done, I went with the Tailwind CSS and all for the like making the components for the doc site. And after like doing it, when in between I stuck there and have to reword the changes. So one thing I learned it, like before anything to move on, we have to showcase one POC of it, like something like to we shouldn't go directly. Little bit discussion should be there. So that was one a mistake I did it in that. I learned from it, and like basically the Tailwind CSS we did it, and then again I reverted it and started again a Docusaurus initialization. That main technical problem I face is like moving. So older doc, though it is a markdown file, in Hugo we use snippet, like some snippet, something like template, something a code that cannot be rendered in doc. So I have to locally manually do that things to doc file. So that was moving a little bit hard, and the snippets. Okay, so what additional work we should like that multi-doc support is partially done. So moving the content and writing a action to pull and organize it in this in different. So that working on something like we wanted to write something like this script. So this is what it does. It like going to clone all the from some repo and going to put it on some other repo. But we wanted some robust thing, like we can't pull all the like we wanted some markdown files, and we also wanted the assets for it, like the images and all. So we have to take care of that things. Has to be done. Also, okay, so the mobile view, how it looks in mobile view and all. So this is, okay, let me, that is in Hugo. So in mobile view, you can see here, like it's not proper, like code snippet overlap with the and this is one example of like problems we face in the Hugo side. And there are like sometimes the code snippets are getting out of the box in the Hugo, the Docusaurus side. So when we go to mobile view of Docusaurus, so it's clean as compared to the Hugo. So you can see here, even the code snippets we have in the mobile view, we can see or a format, like, and like I want to showcase. We have tabs, like if you want to showcase some code snippets in different languages. So we have tab sections of more like very like think what it, like we can showcase something related to want to showcase something in different languages. So that is more easy. And if component, that is the big thing about Docusaurus. We can like we can write JavaScript in Markdown. Support for MDX. Mobile will look like this. I'm going to search something and see how it looks. So it's more clear. The even sidebars and the above buttons. So that is like overview of mobile view. Okay, let's talk about the phase 2 work. What I will on. So mostly phase 2 will be the stuff that is more important, and some miscellaneous topic which will enhance the like side. Like we wanted a whale linter. So what it does is like it's the spell check check for a grammar and spell both, more powerful than a spell check linter. Prettier for markdown files. So when we do the current docs, the markdown files have some indentation and all. We don't have a proper to check whether the markdown files are structured well or something like. So we will having a prettier GitHub action with rules. We also have a lighthouse integration. So whenever the new changes is done in the doc side, going to showcase the lighthouse score. So lighthouse score is like something it gives the score of SEO changes, how much JS snippets has been pushed, and all the data and all. Yeah, so adding the GitHub action for check broken links and all. So we are facing like references links and all. We can't we have to check manually, but we wanted to have a GitHub action for it to check stuff and all. Also, like whatever I'm adding the feature, I'm documenting it here in contributing.md file. A new user can like be able to know how to add a new versions for docs. So this is the file where I'm documenting my work. Is to work. And yeah, so that's about the new documentation engine. Yeah, thank you. And you can connect me on these links. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Any comments or questions from others? Yeah, there is one question from Adam. Can we cite a website quality gate and run quality checks with Keptn?
Like you mean the quality checks about the docs, like whether they are following the right rule, something like that.
Yeah. So from what I understand, what Adam means, so that if you have a delivery pipeline for documentation, you have a quality gate that verifies that everything is correct, and only after that allows it to be deployed. Is it correct, Adam? Yes.
Yeah. That like we want the phase 2 work action for it. Like the I said about the front for that also we wanted a linter where the front matter like title is missing or not. If someone is adding a docs and if they miss the title, so it will going to give a message, like give a alert, like you miss a title field, you have to add it. So like that we are going to solve the quality of docs. And one thing was more like prettier formatting. So it's going to, whenever the push is done in the master branches, the linter is going to format the docs, format the markdown file and remove the indentations and all. According to the prettier rules, what we define, what we're going to define.
Yeah. Personally, I think that Keptn is probably not the best tool for that. I mean, of course, you can do some verification with Keptn, but yeah, if you already have GitHub Action, if you have a standard framework and static website, so static website actually allows to do a lot of evaluations without relying on preview environments and other things that Keptn supports. So.
I also have this view that at least for all the checks that we are talking about, maybe linting, I don't know, all of this, for instance, could be done in the build pipeline, and that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, there still can be some opportunities verification with Keptn, for example, if you're managing content delivery on our own, but we don't. We just rely on Netlify with its CDN. So it could make some sense to verify some metrics, but if Netlify feels better, I guess we don't have any opportunities to fix it. We had massive Netlify outage 1 year ago, I believe, which was quite fun, but yeah, it happens not that often. So maybe some metrics would be useful. Yeah. So any comments from mentors? We have all three of them on the call.
Yeah, more actually to the community. Do you have any questions about how is it going? If you have any issues, concerns?
I would also like some feedback from Meg, because I think she is really involved in the whole documentation initiative.
Yeah, we have. I'm looking forward. We've got more work. To define exactly what we want this to look like, and then get everything over there. We need scripts so we can do it quickly, and then we're going to want everybody to chime in and see what they like, how it should look, and how it should behave. We've also got issues with what the presentation of the old releases is going to look like, because right now we have a few sections like concepts and the quick start that are outside the specific release, but they are actually release specific, if for nothing else. Like the concepts articles, for instance, reference a lot of the pages that are inside the release. So somehow when you do a drop down for, say, release 15 documentation, you're going to need to see exactly what you saw for 15 documentation, which was the stuff that was outside of 15. And we're going to have to figure out how to do that. And it may not be, I'm not exactly sure of all the history here. There's probably going to be some interesting wrinkles along the way. But that always happens when you switch tools like this. So no big surprise.
Do we have any other feedback from the community for Eric or Rajiv? Anything that we could improve upon, that would be great. Anything that you liked?
I hope everyone's internet connection is working fine.
I think Oleg might be having. Oh, there we go.
Yes, sorry, I had an interrupt. Just somebody came to my door. Yeah, I'm here. I heard the most of the discussion. And yeah, again, thanks a lot, Rajiv, for working on this project. So I think that it's a really good improvement, and we need to keep investing in the new documentation side. We need to move our content, tutorials there. And actually, if there is opportunity to create a generic engine based on Docusaurus, on GitHub Actions, combining everything in a single distributable package, it would be super useful for open source community too. Because there are other examples. For example, CD Events project is about building a documentation site based on Docusaurus. Continuous Delivery Foundation wants to build a new documentation engine for community materials, etc., etc. So if there was an engine for that, fitting documentation as code, best practices, etc., it would be super useful because currently we don't have anything between Hugo, which is super basic for documentation, and Enterer, which is super powerful, but also quite difficult to manage. So this engine, as a small project, could fit really well in the middle. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how it evolves. Okay. So any additional comments or questions? Am I online?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I'm personally very excited about both the projects because one project really solves a big problem for a normal Keptn user. I'll be very happy to have
You ready?
the documentation engine with all the new exciting features, and I'm also very um, um, excited about the custom resources that Eric would be developing. Hopefully, we'd be able to deploy the entire Keptn as a custom resource and be able to configure everything using custom resources. So I'm very excited about both of the projects and really looking forward to what we get out of this.
Great. Okay, so looking forward to what's next. And yeah, we have another phase of coding. So by the end of August, most of the projects will be slowly wrapping up. So for Eric, I believe we agreed on a longer term for the project. The system was updated. And for the rest of the mentees, if you want to extend your projects, there is still an opportunity. But yeah, so far we're heading for evaluations in September for all of them, I believe, except CRDs. And yeah, thanks to everyone for working on that. Again, next week we will have presentation by JNM about K6 integration service, and this will wrap up all the projects. Thanks to all mentors for submitting their evaluations. I believe all mentors have submitted them by now, and same for contributors. Make sure to submit your evaluations before the deadline, so that once everything is over, there will be an opportunity for the teams to meet, to do retrospectives and discuss the feedback. We had a quick discussion with Brett McCoy. He will coordinate these retrospectives while I'm on vacation in the next weeks. And yeah, make sure to use this time to discuss what could be better in the projects and how you improve your collaboration together, because this is how the open source work, and I think it would be a good opportunity for you to discuss. So, any additional comments before we close this session? No?
Thanks for the great presentations, guys.
Last one. So see you all. And yeah, I'll publish the recordings. Well, the recordings should be already live because we are using the broadcast. But yeah, I will do some processing, etc. So they are fine-tuned. And for all contributors, I kindly ask that you update your project pages and put links to videos and also to your presentations so that everyone can see them. And that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Hey.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.